Well, service dogs could soon be getting an upgrade. That's thanks to some new technology allowing them to communicate better with their human handlers.
Viral online phenomenon claims to have further opened the door to human-canine communication.
When researchers first revealed that they had successfully decoded aspects of canine communication with the help of advanced artificial intelligence, it felt like something pulled straight from the realm of science fiction. For thousands of years, humans and dogs have lived side by side, developing a bond built on mutual trust, companionship, and subtle signals of body language and tone. Yet, for all this closeness, there has always remained a barrier. Humans could only guess at the true meaning behind a bark, a growl, or a whine. Now, AI has begun to chip away at that mystery, giving us a glimpse into how dogs truly communicate, and the results were far from what anyone expected. Before we start, smash the like and subscribe buttons for more updates. At the center of this breakthrough is the ability of AI systems to process vast amounts of data with precision far beyond human capacity. Scientists collected countless hours of recordings of dog vocalizations, paired with observations of behavior, posture, and context. A whimper when the dog was alone, a bark during play, a growl during food guarding. All of these vocal expressions became raw material for algorithms capable of discerning patterns invisible to the human ear. What emerged was not simply a dictionary of sounds mapped to actions, but a deeper understanding of the emotional layers and nuanced meanings that underlie the canine voice. One of the most striking revelations was how specific and varied dog communication truly is. What had once been brushed off as a simple bark turned out to carry gradients of meaning depending on pitch, duration, and rhythm. For example, a bark during a stranger's approach conveyed not just alarm, but a distinct sense of urgency that differed from the bark used during playful teasing. Similarly, growls, long thought to be straightforward warnings, were found to have subtle shades indicating whether the dog was protecting a possession, establishing personal space, or expressing frustration. The AI was able to map these variations to highly specific emotional states, proving that dogs have a more elaborate communication system than previously assumed. The implications of this breakthrough ripple through numerous aspects of human life. For pet owners, it offers the potential for a new level of understanding and connection with their animals. Imagine a future where an app could translate a dog's vocalizations into a form humans understand, giving insight into whether the dog is anxious, excited, in pain, or simply craving attention. Such a tool would revolutionize pet care, reducing misunderstandings and enhancing emotional bonds. Owners who might have previously misinterpreted a sound as aggression could learn that their dog was actually expressing discomfort or fear, leading to more compassionate responses. For veterinarians, this decoding opens an entirely new diagnostic avenue. Dogs cannot describe where it hurts or how severe their pain is, leaving medical professionals to rely on physical exams and subtle behavioral cues. With AI decoding, veterinarians could interpret distress sounds with much greater accuracy, detecting early signs of illness or discomfort that might otherwise go unnoticed. This could dramatically improve preventive care and treatment outcomes, ensuring that suffering is recognized and addressed far sooner. Beyond individual households and clinics, the findings have profound implications for working dogs. Service animals, search and rescue dogs, and police canine units could communicate their experiences and perceptions with unprecedented clarity. A search dog that locates a missing person might not only signal discovery, but also convey whether the person is injured, alive, or unconscious, simply through vocalization analyzed by AI. For service dogs assisting people with disabilities, this could transform the relationship into a more interactive partnership, with the animal able to express needs, warnings, or observations in ways that humans can directly understand. Another unexpected outcome of the research was the discovery that dogs not only use vocalizations to communicate with humans, but also appear to adjust their sounds depending on whether they are addressing people or other dogs. The AI found distinct patterns in tone and pacing that seemed tailored to human attention, almost as if dogs had developed a human dialect to bridge the gap between species. This finding suggests that our long history of domestication and cohabitation may have shaped canine communication in profound ways, blending instinct with learned adaptation to make their voices more legible to us. This decoding project also raises deep questions about the nature of consciousness and interspecies relationships. If dogs are proven to have such a layered communication system, it challenges long-held assumptions about the limitations of animal cognition. Communication is often seen as a marker of intelligence, and the ability of dogs to convey complex emotions and intentions through sound strengthens the argument that they are more sentient and self-aware than many had believed. This could push society toward reevaluating how animals are treated, not just in homes, but in broader ethical contexts such as farming, research, and entertainment. The technical side of the AI's achievement is equally fascinating. Natural language processing models, initially designed for human languages, had to be retrained and adapted to the unique characteristics of canine sounds. Unlike human speech, dog vocalizations lack fixed phonetic rules, so the algorithms had to learn from context and behavioral association, rather than grammar or syntax. Scientists combined deep learning networks with bioacoustic analysis, allowing the system to recognize subtle changes in frequency and waveform that even trained human researchers could not distinguish. This blend of biology, linguistics, and machine learning showcases the power of interdisciplinary science where seemingly unrelated fields come together to uncover truths that none could achieve alone. While the breakthrough is extraordinary, it is not without limitations. The AI can identify patterns and make associations, but the deeper meaning of those communications, the subjective experience of the dog, remains partially inaccessible. Just as human words only approximate feelings, dog vocalizations may never fully translate into human concepts. Nevertheless, what has been unlocked is enough to reshape the way humans interact with and care for dogs, marking a step toward a richer, more respectful relationship. The cultural impact of this discovery cannot be overstated. Dogs occupy a unique place in human society, straddling the line between animal and family member. To know their thoughts more directly through decoded language will inevitably alter this relationship. It might deepen the already strong emotional bonds, but it could also challenge owners who realize that their pets have been expressing feelings they never noticed. The realization that a dog has been consistently signaling loneliness or discomfort, for example, could compel people to reconsider how they structure their animals' daily lives. There are also possibilities for this technology to expand beyond dogs. If AI can decode canine communication, it is reasonable to believe that similar methods could be applied to other animals with complex vocal repertoires. Cats, elephants, dolphins, and even birds might have their languages analyzed with similar techniques. Dogs, due to their close relationship with humans, served as the natural first choice, but the same principles could eventually open the door to a broader dialogue across the animal kingdom. What makes the discovery so compelling is not just the mechanics of translation, but the philosophical shift it encourages. For centuries, humans have been the narrators of the human-animal story, assuming roles of dominance and interpretation. Now, with AI as a bridge, the animals themselves are given a voice that humans can finally hear with greater clarity. This shift carries the potential to transform human empathy, reminding us that communication is not uniquely ours, and that intelligence can manifest in forms very different from our own. The scientific community is still cautious, emphasizing that the technology is in its early stages and requires refinement. But even at this stage, the ability to decode canine language highlights the extraordinary possibilities of AI in exploring the natural world. It demonstrates that artificial intelligence is not just a tool for human convenience or industrial progress, but a window into the mysteries of life itself. In decoding the voices of dogs, scientists have begun to peel back a veil that has long separated us from a deeper understanding of the creatures who share our homes and our history. This event will likely be remembered as a turning point in how humanity perceives its closest animal companions. What began as an effort to map sounds to actions has blossomed into a recognition of complex communication, emotional nuance, and interspecies adaptation. The decoding of dog language through AI is not simply about understanding what a bark means. It is about recognizing that dogs have always been speaking, and that until now, we lacked the tools to listen properly. With this new ability, the human-canine bond stands on the edge of becoming something even richer, something defined not only by shared affection but by true dialogue. The revelation that artificial intelligence has begun to decode the language of dogs has already caused ripples across scientific circles, but what makes this moment remarkable is not only the discovery itself, it is the vast terrain of implications that now unfolds. The idea that a long-standing communication barrier between humans and their canine companions might finally be lifted opens up an entirely new horizon. It challenges how we define intelligence, how we interpret relationships between species, and how we might live together in the future. This is not simply about knowing whether a bark means hunger or play. It is about entering a richer, more complex exchange with a species that has been evolving alongside us for tens of thousands of years. For much of human history, dogs were perceived primarily as helpers, guardians of property, partners in hunting, or protectors of livestock. Their communication was understood only in fragments, mostly through physical cues like tail wags or postures. People often filled in the blanks with assumptions, anthropomorphizing sounds without certainty. Now, with the involvement of AI, these assumptions are being replaced with measurable data. The shift from speculation to structured understanding represents a profound step in how humans approach the concept of animal minds. It is one thing to assume a dog growls because it is angry, but another to have empirical confirmation that a growl carries a unique signal tailored to its environment, its emotional state, and its audience. At the heart of this lies an appreciation for the emotional depth of dogs. What AI has revealed is not a simplistic vocabulary, but a layered system of expression. The technology uncovered subtle emotional gradations encoded in vocalizations, levels of anxiety, varying degrees of joy, specific tones of frustration. This implies that dogs do not merely react to stimuli, but instead express inner experiences in structured ways. Such a realization reshapes our perception of them from companions who react instinctively to beings who share emotional landscapes that are strikingly relatable to our own. This idea shifts dogs from objects of affection into subjects of communication, able to express themselves in ways we now have the capacity to decode. Consider the possibilities this creates for the daily life of a family living with a dog. Until now, an owner might misinterpret incessant barking at night as a plea for attention when, in fact, the AI could decode it as genuine fear caused by a specific sound or disturbance. A whining noise dismissed as begging for food might instead reveal discomfort from a medical issue. The introduction of AI-assisted decoding transforms these moments into opportunities for better care and empathy. No longer bound to guesswork, humans can respond appropriately, deepening bonds while ensuring the well-being of their companions. The research also draws attention to the remarkable adaptability of dogs themselves. Through domestication, they have evolved not only alongside human societies, but also in response to our ways of communicating. The AI's discovery that dogs seem to alter their vocalizations depending on whether they are addressing humans or other dogs suggests a deliberate adjustment. This reveals not only intelligence, but also a kind of cultural development, the formation of communication strategies suited for life with humans. If dogs can create distinct communicative modes for different audiences, then their vocalizations are not random at all. They are intentional and adaptive, molded by thousands of years of coexistence. From an evolutionary perspective, this opens extraordinary questions. Have dogs been shaping their communication as consciously as humans adapted language? If AI continues to refine these discoveries, it may uncover that dogs, over generations, have been experimenting with ways to be understood by us, even before we had the capacity to interpret them. This presents domestication not as a one-sided process, but as a collaborative evolution. Humans provided shelter and resources, while dogs shaped their communication in ways that encouraged our willingness to include them in our lives. Such findings give new weight to the notion of partnership between species. There is also a wider dimension to consider, the role of dogs in society beyond companionship. Military, rescue, and assistance dogs perform critical roles, often with lives at stake. Communication has always been a limiting factor in their effectiveness. Hand signals and training commands can only go so far. Imagine a search and rescue scenario where a dog, having located a survivor beneath rubble, could vocalize not just discovery, but also the condition of the person, injured, unconscious, alive, while AI translates this into actionable information. For police K9 units, a dog could communicate more specifically about the direction of a suspect, the presence of hidden dangers, or even its own level of stress and fatigue. Such abilities would revolutionize these fields, increasing efficiency while safeguarding both human and canine lives. Another striking implication involves the medical potential of dogs. Research has long suggested that dogs can detect certain diseases, including cancer and neurological disorders, through scent. The limitation has always been how they communicate these detections to humans. AI translation of vocalizations could serve as the missing link, enabling dogs to express detection signals with clarity. This could lead to new diagnostic methods where dogs working with AI systems act as early warning detectors for diseases, giving humans invaluable lead time for treatment. Equally fascinating are the ethical discussions now arising from these discoveries. If dogs possess such layered communication systems, how does that reshape our responsibility toward them? Recognizing their ability to express emotions and intentions through structured sounds forces humans to re-examine traditional roles. Dogs may no longer be seen solely as pets, but as communicative beings deserving of a new kind of respect. This could lead to debates about animal rights, welfare laws, and the ethics of breeding and training practices. For example, practices that disregard a dog's vocal signals or intentionally suppress its communication could come under scrutiny in ways they never have before. The technological framework behind this breakthrough also deserves attention. AI in this context had to be tailored beyond conventional speech recognition. Human languages follow consistent phonetic rules, grammar, and semantics, whereas dog vocalizations are far less rigid. Instead, they exist on spectrums of pitch, frequency, and rhythm, all modulated by context and emotion. Scientists train deep learning models not by providing them with rules, but by feeding them immense datasets of sound paired with behavior. The AI learned correlations, gradually building a model of meaning that extends beyond human hearing capacity. It is not just hearing barks. It is discerning patterns and context invisible to us. This demonstrates the extraordinary flexibility of AI as a tool for biological research, capable of extracting order from what appears to human perception as randomness. This new capacity also hints at wider applications across the animal kingdom. If AI can decode the vocalizations of dogs, there is reason to believe it can do the same for other species. Dolphins and whales, long recognized for their complex vocal repertoires, may become accessible in new ways. The possibility of understanding elephant rumbles, bird songs, or even the communications of primates could transform conservation efforts. By giving animals a more direct voice, AI could foster stronger advocacy for their protection, grounded not in human interpretation alone, but in the animal's own expressions decoded by machine analysis. The cultural ramifications of decoding dog communication extend into human identity as well. For centuries, language has been a defining characteristic that humans use to separate themselves from other animals. To discover that a domesticated species, living intimately among us, has its own structured communicative system disrupts this boundary. It suggests that language, or at least structured expression, is not the sole domain of humanity. This realization could alter how we view our place in the natural world, shifting from a position of linguistic superiority to one of shared communicative potential across species. On a more personal level, this discovery may reshape the emotional texture of households worldwide. Many people already feel they know what their dogs mean, but confirmation through AI brings a new kind of intimacy. A child could finally understand that their dog's whining at the window is not just boredom, but loneliness, longing for company. An elderly person relying on a canine companion might discover that the dog is capable of expressing concern for their well-being in ways more nuanced than wagging a tail or offering silent presence. These realizations could deepen human empathy not only for dogs but for all creatures, cultivating a sense of interconnectedness that has profound psychological benefits. Beyond empathy, there is an element of wonder to this event. The idea that AI has allowed us to hear voices that were always present but unheard reframes technology itself. Too often, AI is associated with automation, job disruption, or surveillance. Here, it becomes a tool for listening. To creatures who cannot advocate for themselves, to expressions that have been overlooked for millennia. It represents a more compassionate use of technology, one that bridges gaps rather than widens them, and one that invites us to see intelligence in places we might otherwise ignore. What makes the event so compelling is that it is not an endpoint but a beginning. The current decoding is only a first glimpse. The vocabulary, if it can be called that, will expand as AI is trained on more diverse dogs in varied contexts. What we know today may be only a fraction of the full complexity of canine communication. Future iterations could reveal not only emotions and needs, but perhaps more abstract forms of expression, curiosity, anticipation, or even rudimentary storytelling through sequences of sounds. If such discoveries emerge, they will not only reshape our view of dogs, but also challenge fundamental assumptions about communication, intelligence, and culture itself. Looking forward, one can imagine a world where devices seamlessly translate canine sounds in real time, perhaps worn on a collar and connected to smartphones. A bark could appear as a notification. "I'm anxious about that sound outside," or "I'm happy you're home." While some may fear that this diminishes the mystery of the human-dog bond, in truth, it could strengthen it by reducing frustration and misinterpretation. The relationship could become more cooperative, more equitable, with dogs able to participate actively in shaping their lives, rather than being passively managed by human assumptions. The discovery also touches on spirituality and philosophy. For many cultures, animals have long been considered carriers of wisdom or companions in the journey of life. To know that they are indeed expressing themselves in ways we can now measure validates ancient intuitions about their significance. It brings science and tradition into dialogue, reminding us that the boundary between human and animal is far more permeable than we once believed. As AI continues to refine this decoding, there will inevitably be debates about authenticity. Can we ever truly know what a dog means in human terms? Or are we simply projecting our interpretations through an algorithm? These questions are valid, but even if full equivalence is impossible, the step toward structured understanding is still monumental. It replaces silence with conversation, uncertainty with clarity, and it acknowledges that dogs have been speaking all along. We simply lack the ears to hear. The event of decoding dog language using AI is thus not a novelty, but a landmark. It is a testament to human curiosity, to technological progress, and to the resilience of the bond between species. It is about realizing that companionship is not a one-way street, but a dialogue waiting to be recognized. And as we learn to listen better, not just to dogs, but perhaps to many other creatures, we may discover that the world is filled with voices, all calling out for connection, all carrying messages we are only just beginning to understand. The decoding of dog language through artificial intelligence has already opened remarkable new pathways of thought, but the story grows richer the deeper one goes. What makes this event so unique is not just the translation of barks, growls, and whines into patterns comprehensible to humans. It is the transformation in how we approach relationships across species. The realization that dogs have been sharing structured forms of communication with us all along, waiting only for the right tools to decode them, marks a turning point in how we understand connection, perception, and the very nature of intelligence. One of the most compelling dimensions of this breakthrough lies in how it changes the science of learning itself. Dogs, like humans, acquire behaviors through experience, and their vocalizations evolve in tandem with their environments. The AI models did not simply reveal innate vocal codes, they also highlighted how dogs modify and refine their communication depending on context. This shows that canine language is not entirely static, but adaptive, responsive to surroundings and the needs of interaction. In essence, dogs are not just repeating instinctive sounds, they are learning how best to communicate in dynamic settings, much as children adjust their speech as they grow. This recognition raises powerful questions about how intelligence manifests beyond the human brain. It suggests that adaptability, emotional nuance, and social learning form a kind of universal blueprint for communication across life forms. This adaptability also reveals the incredible extent to which dogs have internalized human social cues. As the AI deciphered recordings, patterns emerged that indicated dogs could subtly adjust pitch or rhythm in direct response to human tone. A softer human voice elicited a different style of bark than a stern one, and the algorithms identified how dogs seemed to mirror or complement the vocal qualities they heard. This suggests a remarkable degree of emotional synchronization where dogs are not only expressing themselves, but also actively engaging in what might be described as dialogue. That they can tune their voices in this way implies a degree of empathy, an attempt to connect that transcends mere instinct. With AI translation, this capacity for responsive communication becomes far clearer, underscoring the emotional intelligence that dogs have long been suspected of possessing. The discovery also brings into sharper focus the long history of coevolution between humans and dogs. For millennia, we have bred dogs for traits that suit human needs: strength, speed, herding instinct, loyalty. Less recognized, however, has been the parallel evolution of communication. Dogs that were better at signaling their needs or responding to human cues were more likely to be included in households, protected, and bred. Over countless generations, this selective process may have sculpted a unique communicative bridge, one now revealed by AI as richer than imagined. The domesticated dog is not just a physical companion shaped by human preference, but also a communicative partner, fine-tuned by history to engage with us in ways more sophisticated than we realized. This coevolution underscores the possibility that humans did not just shape dogs, but that dogs have been actively shaping us too, influencing our social structures, our sense of responsibility, and even our capacity for empathy toward non-human life. Looking at the technological side, the methods employed in decoding canine language mark a departure from traditional linguistic science. Human linguistics is grounded in grammar, syntax, and words, whereas canine communication relies on continuous sound waves rich in emotion but lacking formal structure. To bridge this gap, scientists had to engineer new forms of analysis, drawing on machine learning's ability to detect statistical patterns. This required developing hybrid systems capable of recognizing acoustic features, mapping them to observed behaviors, and refining predictions with each new data set. What makes this significant is that the project did not force animal communication into human molds. It created new models designed to meet the complexity of another species on its own terms. This approach signals a new direction for AI as a tool, not merely replicating human frameworks, but expanding to accommodate the variety of communicative forms across life. The implications for education and awareness are also profound. For children growing up with dogs, AI-assisted translation could create opportunities for learning empathy in ways that books or lectures never could. A child hearing their pet explain through translation that it feels scared during fireworks may develop a lifelong respect for the emotional experiences of animals. Schools could integrate this technology into curricula, using it to teach not only about biology and acoustics, but also about responsibility and compassion. For younger generations, growing up in a world where animals are recognized as communicative beings could fundamentally alter cultural attitudes toward nature and conservation, cultivating an ethic of care that reaches far beyond the household. On the scientific frontier, the decoding of dog language may serve as a proof of concept for exploring the mysteries of other species. Already, researchers studying whales, dolphins, and elephants have speculated that these animals possess communicative systems as intricate as human languages, if not more so. The challenge has always been the vastness of data and the subtlety of sound. AI, with its unparalleled ability to process massive quantities of information, provides the missing tool. The success with dogs gives researchers a working model for how to proceed with species whose sounds are more alien to us. If AI can recognize patterns in canine barks, it may also unlock the layered clicks of dolphins, the infrasonic rumbles of elephants, or the complex songs of birds. Each breakthrough would not only expand scientific understanding, but could transform conservation by allowing endangered species to speak their needs directly, through translation systems bridging the gap between them and humanity. Equally important is the role of this discovery in reshaping how technology itself is perceived. In a time when artificial intelligence is often viewed with suspicion, seen as a driver of surveillance, displacement, or disconnection, the use of AI to foster communication with animals demonstrates a more hopeful application. Here, AI is not replacing human capacities, but enhancing empathy, giving us access to experiences and perspectives previously hidden. This reframing positions AI as not just a tool of efficiency or profit, but a bridge between worlds, capable of opening doors to understanding and compassion across species lines. It is a reminder that technology, when guided by curiosity and care, can enrich life rather than diminish it. The practical applications extend further than households or research institutions. In agriculture, for example, understanding the vocalizations of working dogs could improve the management of herding practices, reducing stress on animals and enhancing cooperation. In urban environments where noise often masks communication, AI translation could help identify when dogs are distressed by environmental factors such as loud traffic or construction. Municipal services might use such systems to monitor the well-being of animals in densely populated areas, ensuring that they are not overlooked amidst human priorities. These possibilities suggest that decoding dog language is not a niche novelty but a technology with wide-reaching consequences for how society organizes itself around animals. Another layer of importance lies in the recognition of individuality within communication. Just as no two humans speak in identical ways, dogs too have personal voices. The AI systems were able to distinguish between general communicative patterns and unique vocal signatures. This means that translation does not reduce all dogs to a single template, but respects the diversity of expression across breeds, ages, and personalities. A young puppy's vocalizations, playful and high-pitched, convey different nuances than the deeper, more measured sounds of an older dog. By honoring this individuality, the AI avoids flattening canine communication into stereotypes, allowing for a richer appreciation of each animal as a distinct being with its own perspective. This reinforces the idea that translation is not just about categories of meaning, but about relationships, recognizing and respecting the singular voice of each companion animal. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, leave your comments below and tell us, what are your thoughts on scientists decoding dog language using AI? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.